Hey everybody, it's Casual Boofs coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be covering the AMBT, one of the many Tier 8 American medium tanks. This one has an auto reloader, right? There's the Astron Rex has the clip and it's awful, and the AMBT has an auto reloader, which is kind of this. It's similar, not the same, but similar. And it was only available in the Caravan event for bidding, which is an awful way to introduce a new tank. And that was a few months ago, right? A couple, 2-3 months ago. So my guess is that normally Wargaming likes to sit, they'll introduce a thing and then 6 months later they'll sell it. So 6 months after the Caravan, I'm putting it out there right now. You can go ahead and when it's for sale again, you can come back to this video and say Boofs was right. It's going to be for sale, I think, in the shop 6 months after it was originally released, probably in maybe like I said, 3 or 4 more months. I don't know, math. But I have video footage to talk more about it. Before I didn't really have, I just could look at Tanks GG stats, and now I can look at it with the actual, I'll just show you some gameplay. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so before we get into it too much, one thing I wanted to just point out is my annoyance with the inconsistency of the US medium premium tanks and their crews. And you might be saying, why does that matter? Well, if you're trying to train a premium, you're trying to, most of the time, okay, I'll just say, a lot of the times, one of the things you buy a premium tank for, among maybe because it's fun, or maybe because it's makes good credits, or maybe because it trains crew. Well, there's a bunch of these that don't train crew with a crap, and this is kind of one of them, right? Or it's annoying, right? So I'm going to tell you a story before I tell you another story. Okay, so the M48 Patton on the tech tree has a crew layout that's a 4-man and has a radio operator as a loader, right? Which is fine because the loader doesn't have very great perks, and so having the radio operator means you get that view range skill. It doesn't put too much work on the commander. Great. The rest of the line pretty much has a 5-man crew, right? So the tech tree, Patton, and all the ones before that have a 5-man crew. So it's a little annoying that they switch at the very end, but it's fine. Whatever. I can get over that. So there's some of these like the T95E6, the premium, or sorry, it's a tech tree. It's a Clan Wars reward tank that has the radio man on the commander, which does not match the tech tree run, right? The M48 Patton. So your crew from your Patton will not have radio man skills if you stick it in the T95E6. Really annoying. I hate that. The M60 cooperates. But anyways, so when you get to the premium tier 8, I'm gonna move this over here so you guys can see this around my head. Here we go. When you get around this, when you talk about the premiums, the AMBT has the same kind of, it has the radio man on the commander, which is not the same as the tier 10. Let's see, the Patton KR and the pilot are both 5-man crew, I believe. Yeah, so that doesn't match. But at least, you know, this is fine, I think, because at least you should have a radio operator from playing up the line. So I'm okay with these. Right, ditto for the Super Pershing has a 5-man crew, just like the actual Pershing. Now, the TL1, the T95E2, which I think this one's weird. This one might be different. But the TL1 and the T42 and the AMBT share that same annoying crew layout where the commander is on the commander is also the radio operator. Hate this. So this is just like a really stupid way to gimp this tank for what you can say, oh, it's historical, but like, I don't care. I don't care if it's historical. If you're going to gimp my tank because of history, well, then you decided, Wargaming have decided to make this thing, the tank work the way that it works. So I don't know, like this is just, and then the T95E2, which hardly anybody has. The only way you could get this tank was by doing the Refer a Friend program long ago before they changed it so that to the way that it is now. Like, you haven't been able to get this tank for like 4 years. But this one has a radio man on the loader, but it's also garbage because it has 190 penetration on standard rounds and no credit multiplier. So the point is, and then of course the Astron Rex is this complete fucking nightmare, not like anything else. So the point that I'm trying to drive home here is, I can't wait for Crew 2.0 because that will solve all of this crap. I don't want to have to worry about whether my radio man has my commander has the radio operator duties or whatever, or now I don't have good view range. Because it does influence things. And now that's going to segue me into the AMBT. And I'm going to first start by saying, look at this view range, which is 380 is not bad. It's not awful, but it's not great. Now, if the radio man duties were on the loader, then my crew would have situational awareness. And so that would make this better, right? That means that I could have Brothers in Arms and I could have Recon because the commander makes sense. Then I could have situational awareness. And then, you know, if you're a tryhard like me and you run food and maybe you've even got some, I don't know, maybe you've even got some vents or something like that or whatever. You got vents. Then all of a sudden you can get pretty okay view range. This is not great, but it's passable. But as it is right now, because of the radio operator snafu, this is way less good. So the only way, what I'm getting at, this whole thing before I even talked about this, what I'm trying to get at here is because of this awkward crew layout, the only way you're getting decent view range is if you try at it and you put optics on. And I hate that. Like, why do this to me? It's very annoying. It's just like, it's a scummy way to do it, I think. So that, anyways, so the view range is deceptively bad. It does, like other tanks that have the same view range would be better because you can actually use the crew skills available to you. But anyways, okay. So what is the tank though? It's got 360 damage, which is better than every other medium tank at tier 8 from the Americans, anyways. I think. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Does the Astron Rex hit for 320? Hits for 320, yeah. So the AMBT hits pretty hard for a medium tank. 360 is good, right? And then it's got this auto reloader, which some people love. It's got that flexibility of having single shot things, but then also you have a clip if you need it. Personally, I have found that I don't like auto reloader play style. I am a smooth brain. Like, it's this constant weighing of like, all right, the more you shoot, the deeper into your reload, the longer the reload timer gets. And by the time you dump that last round, and it's 17 seconds before you get a round again, which is a long time. And it's just so like, so you're on your second round and then it whiffs, and then you should have had a kill shot. I don't know. It's just like this constant, like, how screwed do I want to be conversation that you get to have with yourself in your head every time you shoot the gun ever. So I don't like auto reloaders personally, but I know they're very popular and a lot of people love them. 3-second intra clip is okay. The accuracy, the final accuracy is fine. The soft stats are not that great. It's a little bit of a derpy gun, right? But that's okay because you hit like a heavy tank. Right, and that's the other thing I was going to mention is that shell velocity is great. Everyone looked at this when it first was kind of teased, and they were saying, "Oh, it's so slow! Oh my god!" If you just ignore the fact that it says medium tank and just replace the word medium with heavy, and now all of a sudden we're cooking. Like, it's got a heavy tank gun, it's got heavy tank speed, a pretty fast heavy tank speed, to be honest. I said 18 power to weight is kind of slow for a medium tank, but for a heavy tank, that's peppy, right? And a 40 top speed with these really, really good ground resistances. What that means is you get 9 degrees of gun depression. What that means is what I would suggest is throwing a turbo on here in the improved slot, because you are going to be able to make use of that. Now all of a sudden you got 20 power to weight and 45 top speed. You notice the bump from 40 to 45. I don't put a turbo on everything anymore, right? Because it's not useful on everything, but especially with these ground resistances and stuff, I would recommend putting on a turbo. And even if you have a really good crew, I think you probably need optics. And then from there, to quiet this gun down, I'm going to say vertical stabilizer. That's what I would do. And of course, we're getting into the builds and stuff already because I'm all out of sorts. But these are the ones, this is the one, and then this one is going to depend on your crew and how good it is, because the camo is just okay. I don't think you're going to be using a lot of camo mechanic-y things, but that's 17 reverse speed. This one's debatable. I think I'd probably either go, I'm probably just picking nothing, because you don't want to lose. Like, losing, I've now, like, the value of the camouflage is huge, so losing camouflage feels really bad. But this is the equipment loadout that I would recommend, and I have used and I liked it. I don't really care for the tank because, again, it's like just auto reloaders in general. But it feels like it's a slow-ish medium tank, but again, everything about the firepower says to me heavy tank. So ignore the fact that that's what they call it. Try not to be irritated about the crew. That's hard for me. But that's basically it, and we'll get into the armor. The armor is very, very situational. It's got this stupid looking beak thing, and the armor is cheese everywhere, except if you're looking right at it, it's got this very well angled frontal hull, and this ginormous lower plate, right? So the only time the armor is worth a crap is if somebody auto aims you and they hit this, which does happen, or they hit this turret and you're looking right at them. If you're not looking at them, this is bad. You do have a cupola. If you're using some gun depression, you somehow it's got this gun depression. I don't know how that physically works, right? But okay, let's just close our eyes and pretend this works. It's okay, but then you can also be shot right in here. So like, it's okay. The armor is okay. But you're not ever going to just sit there and dare somebody to shoot you, because they're just going to shoot you right here or here or here or anything like that. So that's the armor can work, but it's not something that you can necessarily rely upon, right? And the side scraping is really questionable because it's got these flat kind of shoulder parts of the hull. So if somebody's trying to side scrape, just shoot them right here. Piece of cake. Or you can see the top part of the engine deck sticks up. It's hard to tell a little bit from this. Here we go. Visual. Yes, the engine deck sticks up just a hair, just a tad. And so if someone's like, if you're close in and they're trying to side scrape and they keep trying to like bait a shot, like they only show you this much, just shoot them right there, because that engine deck, that's 10 pixels you can definitely pen all the time. So the armor can work, and the gun is okay, a little bit derpy, but again, it's a solid tank if you like these auto reloaders. I think I've covered it all. I'm all out of order. I'm sorry. I just couldn't help it. Let's get into the game. All right, so we're going to be watching E.H. Taylor playing in his AMBT. And I forgot to mention this during my stat review. Because it's an auto reloader, switching ammo types is a nightmare, right? So because even if you have intuition, if you have a full mag, you have to start from the deep reload, and then you wait, and then you load. You basically load up the full mag from scratch, which is awful, right? And then even if you have intuition, you just get a break on the last one, but you don't. It's just awful, and it doesn't carry very much ammunition. So to really like, E.H. Taylor did this, and I've started to do this too. I just carry nothing but premium rounds because it's not worth it. It's not worth trying to find a way to switch. And anyway, so the other thing is there's the bloom after firing stat that people like to look at for this thing, and you'll see, look at, like, the gun is a little bit derpy, but you'll see that because you have 3 seconds of intra clip, you have the time to aim the gun in, and it doesn't really make a difference. I haven't found a big problem with the shot bloom after firing stat. Haven't noticed that's been a real big issue. And this is, you notice here, look, I mean, it does bloom out, but again, by the time you're aimed in again, or by the time you're loaded again, you're ready to go again. So like, I think if the intra clip were like 2 seconds, which would be stupid and broken, then you would notice that shots after, or the bloom after firing stat a lot more. But yeah, you can see E.H. Taylor is just somehow using he's using this bush as cover, aiming. And again, we're trying to put this round in. I think he noticed, like, all right, if you can, I've taken the tips from E.H. Taylor is if you can take somebody out of the game, then it's worth shooting your shots, right? As long as you're not totally hosed. If you're like leaving yourself in, but it's really hard, like in amongst enemies, but it's really hard to control the pace of engagement, because if somebody pushes you, you'll feel like you have to shoot, but if you shoot, that just screws you, right? Because then your reload is even longer. So it's really difficult to like get a feel for how you should, like, the only way you can play well, I think, with an auto reloader is to control the pace of the engagement. You only get in when you've got a full clip. You only get in, and then you're able to dump your clip and then leave, or stay safe, or use something, right? Your teammates to help keep them off of you. But yeah, so E.H. Taylor is able to do this whole flanking thing. We have side shots on this. Oh my god, on this tiny little pixel. This replay was happening before the change to the game that allowed you to see where. Oh my god, what a shot! See where people's where their tanks are obscured by cover, right? So that would have been really handy here, but each Taylor managed to land at home. And again, you notice that now that we're clipped out, we're just sitting here waiting, and this is auto reloader things. Now, you know, E.H. Taylor, whether it was wise to shoot at that deep reload or not, I don't know. I think that I wouldn't have, but at the same time, I mean, it's free damage, right? And there's nobody pressing him, so why not, I suppose. But you can see we're going up the hill, and it's okay, right? just people get hung up about the fact that they call this a medium. Wargaming has called this a medium tank. They said, "Well, it's really slow for a medium tank." Just ignore the fact that ignore what Wargaming has decided to call it. What does it play like? And I think it plays like a fast heavy tank, right, or a support heavy tank. And for that, it's okay. The speed is fine. And what it does do is it out trades the shit out of things. Like, look at this guard, which has pretty good. I mean, the good alpha damage, right? That's the whole thing. The guard is all about the gun, and we were just able to trade 2 for 1 easily, right? And now he's about to have 3 rounds. He's going to put 900 rounds or 900 damage or whatever it is, 390. What is it? 360 times 3, which is almost 900 damage into this SU-130 PM, and he's using the hill. So because of this, I don't think this SU has much to shoot at except for. Oh my god, EH Taylor, gosh. You gotta aim those, buddy. Except for the cupolas, right? So you're, okay, so I asked him about this, and apparently EH Taylor said that he just got a new mouse just before this game, and so everything is a little more sensitive than he would have preferred. So that's the excuse. If it's a little jerky and stuff, and he whiffed a couple of these shots, it's because of that. But again, you're waiting here, you're waiting for the shot to reload. You have the back of a tortoise, and you're constantly weighing, when do I shoot? Because what if he leaves? It's, I don't know. I find the entire experience to be very frustrating. And I also don't like the Offspring crew members personally. I think their little voice lines are a little annoying, but there's no denying, right? 360 alpha damage on a heavy tank at tier 8 is decent, right? Especially with the clip potential, right? The T-77, right? The premium heavy tank at tier 8 that's American, that's got a clip and stuff, and it's really good. Or well, I want it to be good, but it has to pay so much to have the clip that it does. Well, this has the same clip, except it's, you know, except you get the flexibility of an auto reloader. You get 360 times 3. The T-77 has 360 times 3. And it's true that tank has like 2 seconds of interclip, but it also can't hit a damn thing. I don't know. I think that this definitely is more powerful than the T-77. And oh, huge. All right, so that's another. We're gonna chalk that one up to the mouse again. But again, we're able to like take these guys down. Like now that he doesn't have to be pressured. Every time he's gotten a chance to control the engagement from his perspective, you get to do whatever you want, right? Like you just pop out, dump 1,000 damage, and then hang tight, like have a cigarette for 45 seconds. It's not, I mean, it really relies on the enemy not pushing you or you having allies, but there's no denying the clip potential. And even then, even if you only get 1 shot out, you still have alpha damage that people have to care about, which is really, really nice. But EH Taylor decides to shoot the butt of this VK, which I think is the right play. This is the guaranteed pen, and VKs can be tricky to pen anyway, so it's probably good to get that guy out of the game. And oh god, worst case scenario, player 3 has entered the match. So this SU-100M1, or this SU-101, the tier 8 Soviet tank destroyer, he's found EH Taylor just exactly after he just dumped his whole mag. So this is not good. This is really bad. So EH Taylor shoots him in the tracks and gets a good shot in, but at this point now, you're hosed. There's nothing you can do, right? And that's exactly what happened. And this is, I want to point out, I mean, EH Taylor was doing everything right, I think, but the one time that he got pressured when he didn't want to be pressured is when he got totally screwed. And that's really indicative of what the tank plays like, I think, because the game was going really well when EH Taylor could control the pace of the engagement. And then as soon as he got pushed, he died, right? And that's it's very hard to play, I think, because there's going to be a lot of players out there. New players are going to have a hard time with this tank because it really requires you to think carefully about every single engagement and to not go too far in, because you need to leave yourself an exit. And that's kind of a hard art to learn in this game. And so I'm not crazy about mine, but I think some people are going to love this tank. All right, to the end of the game, EH Taylor managed to take home 4,700 damage, 4 kills, 1,400 spotting. That's an ace tanker. Let's see here, a spotter badge, the top gun, or I'm sorry, not a top gun, a high caliber, Ended up taking home, let's see, 1487 base XP because of some of that base defense. He did end up taking home some credits, right? Because let's see, he did shoot all of the premium rounds and so on, but a bunch of that was from battle payments. So, you know, for a game as good as this, it comes down to the tank does not really like switching ammo. So it encourages you to either gimp yourself and take no premium rounds whatsoever, or take all premium rounds and accept that you're not going to make as good a credits as you might otherwise make. So that's another reason I'm not super high on this tank. It can be powerful, but there's a lot of things that Wargaming have done to make it kind of annoying to use, like the crew layout and the auto reloader-ness of it, the semi-low ammo count. So anyways, that is the tank. Thanks to EH Taylor for sending in the replay. Hopefully this gives you guys a better indication. Like I said, some of the stats are a little worse than they seem. Some of them are not as bad as they seem, right? Like the aftershot bloom, not that big a deal, I think. And hopefully this will inform you of whether you want to pick this up sometime, I think in the next few months when Wargaming puts it on sale in the shop. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. All right.